What's going on, Animal Crossing fans? My name is Blaze, and today I came across some information on Twitter from a few different sources online. I think Polygon reported it, and a couple other places. Nintendo Life, I think, reported it also. But I came across this Twitter account that did some data mining into Animal Crossing New Horizons, and there's some very interesting things that came out of the data mine that I think are worth talking about. Now, whether or not these features are going to be implemented in Animal Crossing in the near future are questionable. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. This may just imply content that was cut from the game and not necessarily content that will be added to the game in the future. So take all of this with a grain of salt. Don't put too much faith into it, and it'll be fun to talk about. But again, don't put too much stock into whether or not this is going to happen. I'd love to believe that it will, but we'll see. Time will tell. Also, there's massive spoilers here. If you don't want to know about anything more Animal Crossing related, definitely move on, close the video out, toss your laptop out the window, whatever you have to do. If you don't want to hear the spoilers, you have been warned. They are coming up in about 5 seconds. So just to let you know, I did not find this information. This is all done by the Twitter account that's on your screen right now, @_Ninja. This is an account that a person who actually does a lot of modding and hacking and game code and things like that, and they dove into Animal Crossing and data mined the game and tried to find as much as they could about what is either coming or cut. So full credit goes to this person. If you want more information, up to the date information, go follow this Twitter account, because I just followed it today. I didn't know it was out there, but I'm hoping that more content comes down the pipe, and that we have more interesting information coming up in the future. But anyway, here we go. So this is the Animal Crossing New Horizons data mine from Ninja. All right, so he talks about here how he has not posted about this, but thinks it's a good time to share some secrets about unreleased features in Animal Crossing, in the Animal Crossing game code that hints at some things. Some of this might make it into Earth Day update. Some might change before release. So keep in mind, some of this stuff might come sooner rather than later, and we really don't know. So don't take this all too seriously. Museum. There's entries for 2 extra museum upgrades. All 3 levels after the tent seem to contain an art section. There also seems to be 2 standalone buildings, the museum shop and the museum cafe, which incorporates a gyroid section. So this is specific to the museum. So there are 2 extra museum upgrades after the tent, which implies that you have your tent where Blathers is. You give Blathers 15 fossils, whatever it is, and then he upgrades to the first level, which everyone has now. If you have been playing Animal Crossing for a little while, you probably got this very early on in the game. So you probably have the museum now. And there are 2 extra levels. So all 3 levels seem to contain an art section. So even the one that you have now seems to contain an art section, though it's not accessible to the player. And there's 2 more upgrades. So whether or not this got cut or it stuck around in the game code, or it's just something that we're going to get later on, is up for debate. But what those might include is very peculiar. The fact that they all are supposed to include an art section seems to me that the art was cut probably last minute, or at least, within a short amount of time before the game's release. And, love it or hate it, I think the art was cool, and I desperately want a statue, an art statue for my town. I have a perfect place to put it, but it's not in the game. So I'm very much wanting the art to return. I'm very hopeful, and it seems like it's supposed to, but we haven't had a chance to upgrade our museum yet. So it's very interesting. The two standalone buildings, the museum shop and the museum cafe, are both very interesting. The cafe obviously is where Brewster would go to serve coffee and stuff like that. That just totally makes sense. And the museum shop, I think, is very similar to what Celeste was doing in her in the upstairs of the museum in the previous game. So in New Leaf. So maybe it's possible that we'll get something similar, but Celeste kind of has her own thing going on right now, so I don't know if pulling her out of her own thing is the right move. Anyway, interesting stuff. Gyroids might make a comeback as well. The cafe incorporates gyroids, so I guess we'll see. I don't know if gyroids are necessary, and I think that the game did a lot to cut things out that were unnecessary, which I'll talk about that in a little bit too. But anyway, let's move on. Red appears to have a ship that will dock on the secret beach at the northern end of the island. That particular acre is called in. I don't know what that says, but it's called in blank internally. Blank is Red's Japanese name. The fake art mechanic is coming back, but I don't know more details. So I don't know what he means by coming back. I'm wondering if that just means that the fake art code or the fake art, lines of code in the game are starting to appear more often, or if it means that there's definitely like a definitive yes, it will be in the game in a future update. We just don't know when. My best guess is that Red will be the one that comes to your island and sells you art. You bring it to Blathers, and Blathers can tell you whether it's real or fake. And if it's real, that's when he'll open up the art exhibit in your museum. Because all three of those museum upgrades, the base upgrade, and then whatever 2 upgrades are possible, is supposed to include art. So I don't know when that's going to be or if that's going to happen, but it seems like if it's going to happen, I do think that Red is going to be the one that kicks that off. And maybe they're waiting for a specific date or to, program that stuff into the game in a future update. Or maybe it got cut. I don't know. I guess we'll see. But I don't know what he means by coming back, and I guess we'll have to wait and see on that. Fauna is very interesting. So bushes are coming back. Azalea, hibiscus, holly, hydrangea, camellia, and osmanthus. I know I got that wrong. I know I got it wrong. It's okay. You'll survive. So those might change. The list actually changed between version 1.0 and 1.1.4. Vegetables that you can grow and pick: tomato, wheat, sugarcane, potato, carrot, and pumpkin. That's awesome. That's like my favorite thing ever. I actually predicted vegetables to be in Animal Crossing for the Switch. Or at least I put it on a wish list of things that I would put in Animal Crossing for the Switch. I would love to be able to grow pumpkins in like the October-November timeframe. Tomato, potatoes, and carrots would be awesome to be able to put into a to be able to grow them first of all, and then sell them like you would normally be able to sell fruits and stuff. But also to be able to put them into like recipes and stuff too. Maybe there could be like a pumpkin decoration that you could make. And I'm hoping that if pumpkins are going to make a comeback into the game, that we get them before October, because I think it would be really, really cool to have just a whole slew of do-it-yourself recipes that you can make by harvesting or farming pumpkins. That was the reason I wanted cooking in the first place. But there's also food items in Animal Crossing that would go great with cooking, which I think we'll talk about that in a second. Once we get down this list a little bit farther. So 1.0 has a file for a seafood Critterpedia page that's supposed to contain 33 items. The only one actually in the released game is the Manila clam. Interesting. Very interesting. There's a third Nook's Cranny reference, but no details on features or upgraded requirements. So that's information that I think would be great to have. 33 items and only one of them is available now. And the Manila clam in itself was interesting because I remember getting it and thinking, oh wow, there's bait in this game. And I wonder if there's more, but we don't ever see more. So it's interesting, very interesting. I don't even have anything Nook's Cranny updated already. So, if there is an upgrade to Nook's Cranny, I don't even have that one. So I'm running off Nook's Cranny right now. So I guess we'll see. We'll see if I ever get that upgraded, and I'll let you know. Diving will allow you to obtain fish, a different set from fishing, and seaweed. There's a portion of the save file reserved to store them in the game already. So that's very interesting. I think that's awesome that as of right now, there's spots in the save file to designate whether or not you have certain deep sea diving fish or seaweed. So that's kind of cool. I don't think he has any names of the fish or anything like that, but I think that's still pretty awesome. I'm gonna bet diving does make a comeback. And I'm going to bet that Pascal comes back in some kind of diving event of some kind, maybe in the summer. I mean, I've been wrong before, and I'm okay with being wrong. It's okay. I'll survive. I'm not sure how or if this ties into Seafood Critipedia page. Not enough info yet. So that's up here, Seafood Critipedia page. Unused shopping interfaces, see gardening, see museum, which could relate to the museum shop, see real estate, and see gallery. These might not be full-fledged shops. This particular system includes Nook Miles redemption, bridge slope type purchases, and Kicks shoes, for example. So this could just reference a wandering traveler that comes to your town to sell maybe additional real estate exteriors, or maybe Leaf will come into your town and he'll have an interface for gardening that you can buy, maybe special gardening tools, or maybe even seeds, or seeds for like maybe some of the plants and vegetables that we just talked about a second ago, which I'm all for. But Earth Day is coming up soon, so maybe some of that stuff will come soon. But again, grain of salt. A few more loose ends, which I don't have enough info to draw a conclusion on. There's code that pops up for select an item. So what he's saying here basically is, I'll sum this one up because it was confusing when I read it. Basically, when you're talking to a villager like Tank or Marshall or whoever, sometimes there's three options. There's the option to ask them how they're doing. There's the option to give them an item, and then there's an option to say, never mind, goodbye. That give you an item option is available for Red. So when you're talking to Red, there will be an option to give him something. So I don't know what that means or what exactly you'll be giving him, but the option is there. So I guess we'll see. I don't know. I do want to see what new things happen, if anything. That's actually very peculiar and very interesting, so I'd like to know more about that. There's a function that stores a play report. Nintendo aggregates stats on gameplay with 3 variants: Get Recipe DIY, Get Recipe Clothing, and Get Recipe Cooking. Only the DIY one is actually ever used, so the other 2 might be in the plans. Interesting! Get Recipe Clothing, I feel like should already be there because we have DIY recipes for clothing, but the Get Recipe Cooking one is the one that really butters my egg roll. I do think there's something to that, and I would love to see some cooking show up in Animal Crossing. I mentioned earlier how there are food items in Animal Crossing, like furniture items that you can put on tables and chairs and stuff in your home, and being able to craft those items would be awesome, and the only way to really craft them is by cooking. So maybe that'll open up around Thanksgiving when Franklin comes to town. So we'll see. I don't know. I mean, I think I'd love to see more cooking. I'd love to see recipes, because the DIY thing is basically it's made for cooking. Like you make chairs and tables and stuff, but it's basically a recipe, and they call them recipes, and cooking is cooking with recipes. So I really feel like that should be already there. But anyway, moving on. Let's see. So some things were moved. Were removed from 1.1 onwards. Flower bush and vegetable names have been modified to FLBU. Instead, one mention of Red Shop has gone from Sunakichi Shop to Tea Shop. So they're condensing the names a little bit because they know that people are data mining and finding stuff out. So very interesting stuff. I know that doesn't necessarily definitively say what's going to happen for the future of Animal Crossing. It is very interesting to look at and speculate about. So that's kind of why I wanted to make this video, is to give you guys a place to talk about this stuff. Talk about it with me, because I love debating what may happen in the next iterations of Animal Crossing. I like trying to guess and predict and stuff too. So who knows what's going to happen. Leaf is coming up on Earth Day. Earth Day, of course, being April 22nd. So that's only in a couple days from when I'm recording this. So we might get some more information on Leaf Day, on Earth Day. I mean, not Leaf Day. So hopefully we know more, and there's, maybe some cool things that happen with Leaf Day that we can maybe there'll be more data mining that comes out. Maybe there'll be more events and fun stuff. better than what we had with Bunny Day, so we'll see. But anyway, I do want to wrap things up there, guys. Thanks so much for watching. I do Animal Crossing content on a regular basis, so please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll be back as soon as I can. Once again, guys, my name is Blaze, and I'll catch you on the flippity flip.